everybody, this is Andrew with Hardware Artisan. Welcome back to the channel. Today I'm going to be taking a look at a Corsair product. It's the iCUE LT100. It's the smart lighting towers. This is a product from Corsair that kind of takes RGB lighting from your desktop PC, fans and things like that, and kind of moves it out onto your desktop in a tower form. I did a review last year, or maybe it was earlier this year, on the LS100, which kind of takes RGB lighting, connects it to the back of your monitor, and synchronizes video lighting up, in like a rear projection off your monitor up on your wall. It was really, really cool and well done. This kind of takes that same idea. It has a lot of those same features. It does video synchronization, audio synchronization, and all of the other standard Corsair lighting schemes. And it fits right in with all the other Corsair products. And it just kind of separates it and lets you, move it around your desk in kind of a tower form. It's kind of a cool idea. And you can turn these towers forward and reverse and kind of get some different effects depending on what you're going for. So anyways, I've been invested in the Corsair RGB ecosystem for a while. I've got, some LL100 fans, the Commander Pro, Lighting Node Pro. I've done a lot of, some reviews on those things, and I've really enjoyed those products over the last couple years, and so it was just kind of natural to pick this up and take a look at it. So, enjoy making these videos and sharing it with you. Hopefully it'll help you, decide what you want to do and go make something cool and make your PCs better. Anyways, let's just go through this real quick. It's not a real complex product, but there's a couple things of note. We'll go through how it connects, what it looks like, what it does, and hopefully that'll help you out. So specification wise, there's not a whole lot to it, but there are a couple of things that are noteworthy. The size of these, they're about 16.5 inches, maybe a little bit more than that. So, fairly sizable. They're not small, but they're not, so big that you can't fit them in even to, small, tight spaces. The cables, the RGB cable is this 6-pin. I guess it's obviously a Corsair proprietary connection. Of course, Corsair's RGB connections are proprietary anyways to them. This cable is 5 feet long. This is what connects the two towers together. So a quick note on that is you're required to buy this starter kit, which is both towers in the box. And the reason you have to do it is the one base is a controller. And this is what actually controls the lighting. And so if you buy just one of the expansion towers, it does not come with this. It comes with just a standard, dummy base. And so this cable here connects the two bases together. The power and the RGB signal gets sent through this to the slave bases. And that is 5 feet long. So these will have to be 5 feet apart. If you need it longer than that, the expansion towers, and you can do up to 4 per controller. You can buy an expansion. It comes with a Y cable, so you can probably extend that a little bit with adding some additional towers to it. Or I imagine it's possible to hack this up and make some custom cables, but I personally don't like to do that. So just be aware that 5 feet between towers is going to be your limitation out of the box. The USB cable that it comes with is micro USB to USB-A, and that's going to be 5 feet as well. So you're going to be within 5 feet of your PC, and then the towers need to be within 5 feet of each other. So just be aware of that depending on your setup. The power connection, it's just a standard just a standard barrel connector, and it does come with a headphone stand. I'll show you that in just a second. That works out pretty nice. Each tower, this is marketed as having 46 customizable RGB LEDs in it. And when I first played around with this, when I first set it up and looked at it, it looked like I had a lot of definition in the tower itself. So I was kind of thinking, I didn't know how many there were, but I was under the impression that maybe there were substantially more. So for example, just for a comparison, this is the strip from the LS100. This is the longest one across the top of the monitor. This has 26, and it even appeared to me maybe it had more. But when I got into the iCUE software to start doing some customization work, there were obviously not 46 LEDs that you could configure. So it took me a minute to kind of figure out what they had done, even though they went back through some of their marketing materials, and Corsair says, yeah, 46 customizable RGB LEDs. Well, there are 26 in each tower. In this piece here, there's 26. So that leaves you a discrepancy of 20 LEDs. So the 20, and I tore one of these apart just to be sure, because you've got to see it with your own eyes. There are 20 LEDs within this base here, and I'm not an electronics expert, but it looks to me like there's just one controller chip on this, so you cannot customize all 20 of these. You can customize it, but they're all together. So if you want to set it to blue, all 20 of them are blue. You know, same with this one. I'll overlay some pictures of that board where I took it apart. I knew what it was going to be pulling it apart, but you just got to see it. So anyways, I did write to Corsair and ask them, you know, what their take on that was, because it's not really a big deal, but you know, if you're under the impression that you can customize all 46 of them, you really can't. There's 27 customizable objects per tower, not 46. So be aware of that. Their statement isn't inaccurate. It's just I don't like how they did it, but it doesn't really detract from the product at all. It's still, overall, I really enjoyed it, and I thought it was really cool, but we'll get to that in a second. So that's really all there is spec-wise to it. And the material here, this diffusion material, is, you know, identical to what is in the LS kit. So it's, you know, it's kind of soft, but you know, this is rigid and you can't bend it at all. But so let's go ahead and go through this real quick and show you how it fits together. Each tower has this 8-pin connector on it and these two big lugs. So when you connect it, there's really no way that you can do it wrong. These kind of guide it in, and there's just no way to mess it up. So unless you're really doing something that you shouldn't be doing. So, and then in the base, of course, you just have the, you know, corresponding connector there. Now this fits in either way, and to do that, you don't get a really positive click with that, but you do get, you know, you'll be able to feel it that it's seated in there. So just pick which direction you want to go and just kind of push them down in, and that's it. And again, you can go forward, back, you can mix and match. It doesn't really matter. I've even had these on, and even while they're on, I've flipped them around with no problems. So once you get those set up, it's easy enough to make your connections. The 6-pin Corsair connector, RGB power connector, just goes from one to the other. Simple as that. And then you're just going to plug in your power. One other feature of this that we didn't really talk about, we'll go over real quick. The controller has a button on it, and that button, you'll find that like on the LS100 as well. That's like a hardware lighting, so this can be used in a standalone situation. So you don't even need a PC if you want it to use just the lighting by itself. Pull it out, plug it in, and you'll get these lighting functions on it. And so the switch, plug this back in. So the switch, if you just a quick press of it, will turn the lighting on and off. So I don't have this connected to a PC right at this minute, so you just turn it on and off. If you press and hold it for 2 seconds, it will cycle through all the preset lighting schemes that are built into it. And there's quite a few in there that it will go through. We're not going to go through each individual one right now. So there's one more function for the button. If you press and hold it for 5 seconds, it does this LED detection routine. I've only had to use that once, but most of the time I haven't had to use it. All it is like if you add expansion towers to this, you can do that either through the button or through the iCUE software, and it will just go through and detect how many LEDs are present. So it's just kind of like an expansion. It just reassigns them and pulls them in. So, but that really hasn't been something I've needed. So that's that button right there. The bases are aluminum. They are actually pretty nice. You know, they've kind of got a brushed aluminum accent to it. So they look really good. They're heavy. They're sturdy. It's typical Corsair quality. It's pretty nice. The headset stand is just plastic, and it's got some 3M tape in there so you can kind of secure it if you want. But it just sits on the top and just kind of presses down and works well enough. It'll hold a headset. All right, so I'll go ahead and overlay. Well, let's do a quick comparison here. I'll overlay the iCUE software to this so you can kind of get an idea. I'll put this LS100 out here that has the strip from that, and then just a standard strip as well. So in the iCUE software, one thing to note is you may need to upgrade it. When I first set this up on the desktop PC over here, it did not recognize the LT100. And I realized that it required the latest version of iCUE software. I didn't realize I didn't have it updated. So if you don't see it, I just recommend keep that updated anyways. So we'll get that USB cable plugged in. And once you get into iCUE, in my case, I can see the LS100 starter kit and the LT100. Go to lighting setup. Here's that LED detection. You can run that. Again, in this case, you're not going to need to, but just in case, if it doesn't look right, go ahead and run it. It doesn't really give you any indication that it's doing anything. I would just say if you're having issues with it, it doesn't look right, then try running that. But once that's set up, you can come down to lighting effects. We're not going to do a complete tutorial on the iCUE software. It does a whole lot of stuff. But if you've used it for their other products as well, it's really just the same. It's fairly intuitive. It can get a little complex if you start adding different effects. But anyways, just on lighting effects, click the plus sign, and then Super X. Super X it describes that as just running through all of the different lighting schemes that are built in. So in and of itself, it doesn't really do much. It's really no different than like Rainbow Wave, but it just starts out and kind of cycles through all of them. So as far as the predefined ones, there's really nothing new. If you're familiar with all of the other, if you've used any Corsair product RGB wise, these are going to be all the same things. There's nothing in here that's any different. So we're not going to go through each individual one. As I end this video, I'll show some demonstrations, as it was on my PC. So of course you get all the custom options here: static color, solid gradient wave, and of course these you can come in and do all sorts of customizations with it. And of course up here, Tower 1, Tower 2, you can address individual RGB lights. We'll take the gradient off there, and we'll just put a solid color, static color, blue, and then you can click any of these that you want, and you can get it to light up. And you can drag and drop whatever you want to do. You can do the base too, that has 20 addressable RGB LEDs in it, or not. I'll update the video if I ever get a response from Corsair. I asked them what their take on that was, but I don't know that they'll respond to me. But that's okay. We'll let it go. But just be aware of that. If you're gonna buy it, you're not gonna get 46. There's only 26 here and 27, and that's it. Okay. Anyways, obviously you get the ambient features. This is probably one of the primary reasons that a lot of you are going to buy this. So we go plus, go down. If you go video lighting, that's probably one of the primary reasons you're going to get it. You'll have to make sure this customized screen capture is checked. Then from here you can customize which part of the screen do you want it to use to sense which color. I found that just keeping it on the edges here was the best. You of course can move it to the tops and do all sorts of this, and it must just take an average of whatever color is in that quadrant and does its best representation of that. Of course, you can set each tower individually and reset the default. All the basics are here. So that works pretty good. I've got some demonstrations of that coming up. Audio lighting, that worked well. Either through, you can get it to work through your microphone, or just like YouTube music videos and concerts will play through there. There's some pretty cool effects there. Text, fireplace, borealis, it's all basically the same thing that their other products have. And then the lighting link, this is where, if you select like spiral, rainbow, and lighting link, all the products will switch to that and everything. And I've got quite a few on that PC, so it lights it up pretty good. I'm sure some of you have quite a bit more, but it does some pretty cool stuff. All right, well, that's pretty much it for the LT100 towers. They fit pretty good on the desk. They're easy to, rearrange the forward lighting, the reverse lighting. I was able to use it in conjunction with the LS100. I had them both set to video synchronization, and it worked fine. Just kind of amplifies the effect if you put them on the sides. I found, and I probably mentioned this in the LS100 review that I did. When I'm playing games, I don't game as much as I used to, but when I do game and have that effect, the video synchronization, I don't really notice it too much. I'm too focused on the game, but when I turn it off, I do notice it. I kind of miss it a little bit, even though I was not actively aware of it. And it's fun to sit back and look at that effect, and it's really cool. But where I most notice that effect and where I've enjoyed it the most is like when I'm watching YouTube videos. I watch a lot of concert type videos and things like that, and a lot of PC demos, and it does kind of add to it. It looks really cool. The other place that I really enjoyed it was flipping them forward. So instead of it projecting up on the wall, it was projecting forward, and it's defined well enough in a lot of scenes that it kind of it enhances that effect. And so that's where I spent the most time playing with it, was it facing me. Of course, in the settings, of course, you can dim the brightness and do that update firmware with that there. But so all in all, that looked really cool. And of course, just the general lighting along with everything else, you can get some pretty cool ambient light going on, some mood lighting for your PC. But all in all, I've really enjoyed it. The quality of this is, like I said, it's right in line with everything else Corsair does. The number of our customizable RGBs was a little bit disappointing, and only because it kind of alluded to the fact that it was going to be a thing. But the other probably downside to it is just the cost, which you could say that about a lot of this RGB lighting. Some of it's fairly expensive for what it is. But, for the Corsair towers, you get what you pay for. They're expensive, but it's a quality piece, and, it just works well. And if you're already invested in the other Corsair stuff, the other RGB lighting, go for it. This will look great. I probably enjoyed this particular product maybe more so than some of the others, just because it looks really cool. And to get 4 of them would be, even more cool. So again, this was $129 for the 2-tower kit that includes the controller. The expansion ones are $59. I'll put some affiliate links down on the bottom if you care to look at those and you're interested. And you could add more, but you'd have to buy another kit that has another controller, and then you could go and you could get 8 of these on there or whatever. Probably the sky's the limit. I don't know, but I don't know what point it gets ridiculous, but I haven't found it yet. Anyways, as I end this, I'll put some demonstration videos up there and just kind of let those play so you can kind of check out what I was able to accomplish with it. My skills at videotaping some of that, RGB lighting in the darks maybe leaves a little bit to be desired, but I'll edit it so it looks kind of cool and you can get some effects. Anyways, I appreciate you watching. If you would, in the comments below, let me know what you think about the video. What do you think of these lights? Tell me what you think about, Corsair marketing this as 46 customizable LEDs when it's really only got 27. Does that bother you? Do you care? At the end of the day, I really don't care that much. It kind of bothered me, but I'm still going to use them, and I'd still recommend them. They're still cool. Just be aware of it. All right, I appreciate you watching. Have a great day.